Do you know when we are children and our parents are invincible and indestructible? You can hardly see a human there. There is only the hero, the person who would defeat the world to protect you. But, over time this changes, and that's what we're going to talk about today, going into the story of an incredible anime, Boku no Hero. Boku no Hero Academia, or My Hero Academia, is a manga and anime created by Kohei Horikoshi, which began publication in 2014. The story takes place in a world where almost the entire population has superpowers, known as quirks. These powers vary widely and can be anything from elemental abilities to extremely unique physical traits or abilities. The protagonist of this series is Izuku Midoriya, a young man who was born without any quirk in a world where 80% of the population has some special ability. Despite this, he dreams of becoming a great hero like his idol, All Might, the most powerful hero and symbol of peace. Midoriya's story changes drastically when he has an unexpected encounter with All Might. Seeing Midoriya's heroic spirit, All Might decides to share with him his own quirk, called One for All, which can be transferred from one person to another. Midoriya becomes All Might's successor and begins training to master his new power. Midoriya is accepted into UA High School, a prestigious hero school, where he begins his formal training. There, he forms friendships and rivalries with other students, each with their own quirks and heroic aspirations. Among his classmates are Bakugo, a talented and explosive hero in training with whom Midoriya has a complicated relationship, and Uraraka, a girl with zero-gravity abilities. At one point, All Might faces his own mortality and legacy. All Might, whose real name is Toshinori Yagi, is a central figure in Boku no Hero Academia and serves as Izuku Midoriya's mentor and idol. All Might is known as the symbol of peace, the most powerful hero in the world, and his presence brings hope and security to everyone. His story, marked by challenges related to mortality and the legacy he wants to leave, can be associated with themes of idolatry, a concept addressed in the Bible. In the series, All Might is seen as an almost godlike figure, worshipped for his heroic abilities and for being a symbol of security and justice. This worship can be compared to idolatry, a topic frequently discussed in the Bible. Idolatry is the worship of idols or images as gods, diverting attention and respect that should be directed to the one true God. In Exodus 20 verses 3-4, God commands, "You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself a carved image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or on the earth beneath, or in the water under the earth." This verse emphasizes the importance of directing our faith and worship exclusively to God, avoiding the elevation of earthly figures to divine status. All Might, despite being a human being with flaws and limitations, is idolized by society for his power and presence. The reverence he receives reflects a human need to seek out figures of authority and security, something that can be spiritually dangerous if not balanced with an understanding of his human limitations. In Jeremiah 17 verse 5, we read, "Thus says the Lord, cursed is the man who trusts in man, and makes flesh his arm, and turns his heart away from the Lord." This verse warns us against relying excessively on human figures, reminding us of human frailty and imperfection. All Might, aware of his own mortality and fallibility, struggles with the weight of being seen as infallible. He understands that his time as a hero is coming to an end due to his physical limitations and the serious injury he suffered in combat. His decision to pass his quirk, One for All, to Midoriya is an acknowledgement that he cannot carry the burden of being the symbol of peace alone. In his vulnerability, he becomes an example of humility and service, characteristics also emphasized in the Bible. Philippians 2 verses 3-4 teaches, "Do nothing out of strife or vainglory, but out of humility, let each consider others better than himself. Do not look each one only on his own, but each one also on his own. Of others." All Might exemplifies this teaching by focusing on training and inspiring the next generation of heroes, placing the well-being of society and young heroes above his own glory and fame. All Might also recognizes that true strength comes not from his physical power, but from his unbreakable spirit and desire to protect others. He teaches Midoriya that being a hero is more than having a powerful quirk, it's about courage, sacrifice, and the determination to do good. In 2 Corinthians 12 verse 9, Paul writes, "And he said unto me, My grace is sufficient for thee, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will most gladly glory in my weaknesses, that power may dwell in me." Of Christ. This passage reflects the journey of All Might, who finds true strength by accepting his weaknesses and working to empower others. In short, the story of All Might and his idolatry in society can be associated with biblical teachings on idolatry, humility, and true strength. The Bible reminds us of the importance of directing our faith and worship toward God, recognizing human frailty and the need to serve and empower others with humility. All Might, by accepting his mortality and focusing on the legacy he leaves behind, exemplifies the true essence of heroism, which transcends physical power and resides in the unbreakable spirit of protecting and inspiring others. All Might's story in Boku no Hero Academia and society's idolization of him can be compared to the way children often see their parents as infallible and heroic figures. Just as All Might is seen as the symbol of peace, an almost godlike figure to many, parents are often seen by their young children as the strongest, wisest, and most capable people in the world. This idealized, although natural, view can be compared to idolatry, a concept addressed in the Bible. In childhood, it is common for children to see their parents as superheroes, capable of solving any problem and protecting them from any danger. This perception is a form of child idolatry, where parents are elevated to an almost divine status. Just as in Exodus 20 verses 3-4, where God commands, "You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself a carved image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or on the earth beneath, or in the waters under the earth." Idolatry is a way of diverting worship that should be directed toward God. As they grow up, children inevitably begin to realize that their parents are human, with flaws and limitations. This discovery can be a painful process, but it is also a crucial part of growing up. This parallel can be seen in the story of All Might, who is forced to confront and reveal his own physical limitations and mortality after the serious injuries suffered in combat. He understands that he cannot carry the burden of being the symbol of peace alone, a reality that he must pass on to Midoriya, his successor. The Bible warns us against relying excessively on human figures. In Jeremiah 17 verse 5, we read, "Thus says the Lord, Cursed is the man who trusts in man, and makes flesh his arm, and turns his heart away from the Lord." This verse reminds us of the importance of recognizing human frailty and imperfection and directing our faith towards God. Likewise, as we grow up, we learn that our parents, although fundamental in our lives, are not infallible and also need support and understanding. All Might's story also teaches us about the importance of humility and service, values that can be reflected in family relationships. Philippians 2 verses 3-4 teaches, "Do nothing out of strife or vainglory, but out of humility, let each consider others better than himself. Do not look each one only on his own, but each one also on his own of others." All Might exemplifies this teaching by focusing on training and inspiring the next generation of heroes, placing the well-being of society and young heroes above his own glory and fame. This is an important reminder that the role of parents is to guide and empower their children, recognizing their own limitations and showing true strength through service and humility. Parents, like All Might, teach their children that true strength comes not from the appearance of infallibility, but from the ability to face challenges with courage, admit mistakes, and continue fighting for the well-being of the family. In 2 Corinthians 12 verse 9, Paul writes, "And he said unto me, My grace is sufficient for thee, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will most gladly glory in my weaknesses, that power may dwell in me." Of Christ. This verse reflects All Might's journey and can also be applied to parents who, by accepting their weaknesses, show their children the true essence of strength and resilience. The idolization that children have for their parents when they are young can be compared to the idolization that society has for All Might. Both are ways of elevating human figures to almost divine status, something the Bible warns us to avoid. Recognizing our parents' humanity and limitations, just as All Might recognizes his own, is an important part of growth and maturity. This journey teaches us to value the true strength that comes from humility, service, and the courage to face challenges with faith and resilience. If you like the content and want to help us continue, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment or suggestion about a book, film, series, anime that you want to see analyzed on the channel.